Hi, seventh graders. Miss Yeager's back. We're going to pick up where we left off, learning about photosynthesis and how sunlight and photosynthesis and producers are crucial to an ecosystem so that other organisms can survive. So we have our objective over here. Today, you are going to be reading two articles to learn about how sunlight and producers contribute to life in two ecosystems. So we're going to be looking at the Arctic and the coral reefs today. So what you're going to do today is you're going to watch the ed puzzle and respond to the questions embedded in the video to show your understanding of how photosynthesis, contributes to the existence of life in different ecosystems. Okay, so again, as we're reading through these articles together, there will be questions scattered throughout the video for you to respond to. Please be thoughtful about your responses. Do not copy from the article, but write your ideas in your own words. I want to hear from you and understand what you are thinking and what you still have questions about. And you guys did a really fantastic job of this with the article from last week. So let's go ahead and check out those articles. Okay. So I'm going to read through this. Thank you to those of you who took the survey on Thursday. Most of you said that you preferred me reading it over the computer, so I'm going to go ahead and do that today. Arctic seasons. We have a picture here. It says, during winter, the Arctic is dark almost 24 hours a day. Okay. The Arctic is the area near Earth's North Pole. If you visit the Arctic in winter, you'll see dark, windswept landscape with no plants visible and a few hardy animals searching for food in the snow. If you visit the same spot in summer, it's completely transformed. Low plants bloom everywhere, big herds of grazing animals feast on the plants, and wolves lurk around the edges of the herds, hoping to feast themselves. The air is alive with insects and birds. See another picture here? During the summer, the sun shines on the Arctic almost 24 hours a day. So basically, complete opposite. So here we can see there's plants, there's sunlight, there's colors. And if we go back to that original photo, you can see that it's a little bit more dark, lots of snow, doesn't look like very much life. What causes this transformation? Because of the way Earth tilts in its orbit around the sun, the North Pole points toward the sun in the summer and away from the sun in the winter. This means the North Pole is in darkness 24 hours a day during the winter for months. The sun is never seen. However, during the summer, the North Pole is in sunlight 24 hours a day. For months, the sun never sets. So we can see the sun here, and we see the Arctic is up here. And so in the summer, it's tilted towards the sun, so it's getting a lot of direct sunlight. In the winter, it's tilted away from the sun, so it's not getting that sunlight. So you can see like the North Pole is here, it's in the shadows the entire time, no matter where it would go. Over here, you can see that it is in the sunlight the entire time. All that sunlight fuels a boom in photosynthesis. Plants and other producers take in water from melted snow and carbon dioxide from the air. Using energy from sunlight, they transform the water and carbon dioxide into oxygen and glucose, a type of energy storage molecule. This transformation happens through the process of photosynthesis. Because the sun never sets in the summer, Arctic plants can photosynthesize 24 hours a day, constantly producing energy storage molecules that are stored in their bodies, available for animals to eat. Plenty of sunlight allows mosses and other plants to grow in the Arctic summer. The plant-eating animals that live in the Arctic, time their reproduction so their offspring are born at just the right time to take advantage of this bounty of plants and energy storage molecules. As the animals digest the plants, they use the carbon and glucose to make other energy storage molecules like fat, which can be stored for times when there is less food. Arctic predators also time their reproduction to the season, having offspring just when lots of food is available for them in the form of other young animals. Reproduction leads to a population boom for the year-round residents of the Arctic. However, that's not the only reason there are more animals in the Arctic in summer. Birds and many other animals migrate to the Arctic in summer to feast and reproduce. When summer ends, they go away to sunnier areas. In the summer, caribou eat the grasses and mosses found in the Arctic. As summer ends and the sunlight dies away, the plants stop photosynthesizing and lie dormant. Many plants survive the winter as seeds. Only a few animals remain. Some hide themselves away and hibernate through the long winter, not eating at all and using as little energy as possible. Darkness descends and the Arctic once more becomes a relatively lifeless winter landscape. Arctic foxes have to scrounge for food during winter. All right, now let's read the article about the coral reefs. Coral reefs and clear water. What a beautiful photo. Coral reefs thrive in places where sunlight can shine through shallow, clear water. You can see that sunlight coming through. Coral reefs form in clear, shallow water with lots of sunlight. Reefs may look like they are made up of rock, but they're not. Reefs are living structures made up of millions of tiny animals called coral polyps. Their hard skeletons stick together to form reefs that may be up to 2,300 kilometers, 1,429 miles, long. What's even more amazing about coral reefs is the huge number of different organisms that make their homes in them. Fish, sea stars, urchins, shrimp, sponges, crabs, sharks, and more. Coral reefs depend on sunlight. Why? Coral polyps are animals, not plants. They can't do photosynthesis. However, inside each tiny polyp are even tinier algae made of just one cell each. These algae are producers, and it's their ability to do photosynthesis that gives life to the reef ecosystem. In this close-up photo of coral polyps, you can see the tiny green algae living inside them. So if you look real close, you can see the algae that lives inside. So that algae is what is using the sunlight to go through photosynthesis, and then the polyps are then consuming the algae. As sunlight filters through the clear, shallow water, the algae performs photosynthesis. There is carbon dioxide dissolved in ocean water, and the algae take in carbon dioxide along with water. Using energy from sunlight, the algae change the water and carbon dioxide molecules into oxygen molecules and glucose. Glucose, a type of energy storage molecule. The energy storage molecules are stored in the bodies of the algae. Because the algae live inside the coral polyps, the polyps are able to use some of the energy storage molecules produced by the algae for their own energy needs. Parrotfish eat coral polyps. If you dive near a reef, you can hear parrotfish munching on the coral. With a constant supply of energy storage molecules, the coral polyps grow and reproduce, forming huge reefs. Many types of fish eat coral polyps, getting the energy storage molecules they need. Sharks and other large fish prey on the smaller coral fish that eat coral. With plenty of sunlight, one coral reef can support a huge community of organisms. Looks like a lobster, maybe? With sunlight and clear water, healthy coral reefs provide homes for many different species of organisms. Since reefs depend on sunlight, they also depend on clear water and that the sun can penetrate. If the water above the coral reef becomes too muddy or polluted, the whole reef ecosystem is threatened. Muddy water blocks the sunlight, preventing it from reaching the coral reef. Without sunlight, the algae inside the coral polyps can't photosynthesize. The algae run out of energy storage molecules and they quickly die. Without access to the energy storage molecules from the algae, the coral polyps soon die as well. The fish and other animals that depended on the coral die off or swim away to find other food. A coral reef without access to sunlight becomes a skeletal reef. It can't support the life it did before. Sunlight truly is life to a coral reef. Muddy water blocked the sunlight and killed this coral reef. Most of the animals that lived there either died off or left in search of food. So I hope that gives you a little bit of insight to two different ecosystems on our Earth and how they use light in different ways to sustain life in those ecosystems. All right. Later this week, we will be reading through a couple other articles to explore some other ecosystems. So stay tuned for that. Bye.